Dear travellers, and welcome. Today we're looking at the legendary Hasselblad XPan. Well, not really. We're going to be looking at panoramic cameras, but technically not. I've kind of confused myself. Let me start at the beginning and hopefully it'll make sense at some point. Look at it. It's amazing. The Hasselblad XPan. Released in circa 1998, the XPan was a project that Hasselblad and Fuji worked together on, and the end result is breathtaking. This panoramic camera allows you to shoot a 35mm film at a frame size of 24mm by 65mm. Remember that measurement, it will come in handy later. You may have seen Matt Day's review on it. If not, then it's worth a look, as this camera does not disappoint. However, the price on the other hand might not get you excited, as it can go for 10k and above on the used market. However, there's another option. As mentioned earlier, Fuji was brought in to help design this beast of a camera. Well, Fuji also released a panoramic camera in 1998 that was helped design by Hasselblad. Get what I mean? Wink wink, same camera. Yep, the Fuji TX1. Rainy Days has a great episode about this camera that I would also recommend to watch. These YouTubers must be pumped that they're getting a shout out by Shutter Slaps. Finally they can say they've made it. The TX1 was released in 1998 and is almost the same camera for a fraction of the cost. Unfortunately, that fraction is closer to 6,000 US. So yeah. Next! Well then, how about the Lux F7? What? You've never heard of the Lux? Well, it's a feat of engineering that utilizes a swinging lens that enables you to capture amazingly wide shots. The Lux was introduced by Japan's Panon camera Shoko in 1958 and ended productions in 2000. It utilizes a 26mm swinging lens that has a 126 degree field of view. That gives you a negative size of 24 by 59mm. Remember that dimension too. And if you would like to know more about this camera, I would highly recommend you check out T Hopper's channel, as she does an amazing job at reviewing it. But also, her channel is one of the best I've ever seen. And even more interestingly, it's the camera of choice for award-winning actor Jeff Bridges. To be honest, I'm a big Bridges fan and I really want to get a Lux, as I love the look it gives. And on that point, it's important to note that due to the swinging lens, the image has a very distorted, almost fisheye look to them. That's just something to keep in mind when comparing it to the Hasselblad or Fuji TX1. But again, the Lux isn't that cheap either, coming in at around 2k. Interestingly, the seller of this one is advertising it as the best alternative to the XPan. But unfortunately, due to the lens distortion, I can't agree with that. So what is a reasonably priced alternative to the XPan? Enter the TXPan. The term TXPan is given to the Fujica GW690 when it's used with a 35mm film, and this is because the Fujica GW690 is affectionately referred to as the Texas Leica due to its size, functionality and image quality. So when you run 35mm film through a Fujica 690, it gives you a wide panoramic shot. Now remember those sizes of the other negatives? Good. So the negatives that come out of the TXPan is a 24mm by 84mm. Oh whoa! And I happen to own a Fuji 690, and for some reason they are still reasonably priced compared to the XPan and TXI. If you would like to see how to do the TXPan mod and run 35mm film through the Fujica GW690, there's a great video by Streets with a Z, Streets Away, that gives you a good demo. So the XPan mod seems easy enough. You get some 35mm film, then you get these little adapters to fit the 35mm rollers in. You get yourself this frame bracketing thing, then you grab your 120 spool and take that end of the roll to that, but then you need some slack so you don't expose too much film, so you need to tape that bit in there too. Then you just to be safe, you put a bit more tape on this thing over here, and then you just about maybe a bit more tape, and then actually nah, I'm not doing this. This just feels way too much messing about for me. just to get 35mm to work. I've got my own solution to this. I call it the Lux XPan, and I'm gonna rant about it for a few seconds. So I watched a bunch of videos showing how to get a 35mm film to work in a 6x9 camera, and I kept asking myself, why? Why would you need to use 35mm film? For starters, once you put 35mm film into a Fuji 6x9, your rangefinder is now almost redundant, as the accuracy to what you see and what your shot will look like is hard to judge now that you are putting 35mm through it. And if you're thinking about using 35mm might save you a few bucks, then I don't get that either. You don't shoot film to save money, and also 120 film isn't that expensive anyway. Maybe you want to shoot a 35mm stock that you can't get in 120, then yeah, that actually makes sense. Yeah, I can't argue with you on that one. So what's the Lux XPan? Oh, it's quite simple. You get your original 6x9 image and just crop them in post to be panoramic. It's not really a big deal, and it's not going to reduce the resolution or anything. You still get the same resolution you would get on 35mm film, but the advantage is this: you can still use the rangefinder to get a full composition. Keep in mind that you will crop it later. This enables you to get various compositions depending on what aspect ratio you want to crop to, whether you want a 6:4:5, 6:6, 6:7, panoramic, or plain 35 shot, whatever. But today we're focusing on the panoramic image. So let's look at some shots we got using the Lux XPan. It's going to take on. Okay, so let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. Cropping has been regarded as a dirty word. It gives the impression that the person behind the camera maybe didn't know what they were capturing and now are cropping parts out of the image to make it work. Trademark Lux XPan technique is not like that. It's not a case of spray and pray, but it's being able to achieve a cinematic wide shot on a standard 6x9 camera. In saying that, this experience has made me realize something profound. As I was cropping the images, I had to decide what will be kept in the composition and what won't. What is essential to the image and what is just wasted space. It really makes you think more deeply about composition. If 60% of the frame can be easily cut out and you're left with a nice image, then was there any point to having the full image to start with? Definitely something to ponder. Well, that's about it for me. I hope you enjoyed this and maybe we'll give this a go. I assume this will work with any 6x9 camera. There's always some cheap Russian gear that works well that would give you a decent image to work with. So why not give it a go? Thanks for watching, and like always, I'll catch you on the next one.